My friends, I am so fortunate with the superstar guest that I have today. Let me read a quick quote by her. She says that setbacks don't define you and comebacks refine you. Coach Dar, my friend, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm truly grateful to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So, you have a book behind you in the background. You just released this incredible book, The Art of Bouncing Back. Coach Star, I know you have 9 principles in that book, and we're going to touch on a few of them. But tell us how you got started in this work.
Sure. So I'm an occupational therapist by background. My background's in neuroscience and neuropsychology, specialized helping people. When I started out my career, I was helping traumatic brain injured patients, spinal cord stroke, brain aneurysms, everything to do with the mind, really. And it was my job then, and the team, we collectively help people bounce back by helping them mentally, cognitively, physically, emotionally, and even spiritually if they needed it,
Wow.
to be able to come back. And that was such a setup for my whole life because I now still do that. Everyone will say, did you leave occupational therapy? I said, no, I just literally meet people where they are now. So their occupation, their role, CEO, I help professional athletes. People will call me more a mental skills coach or a leadership advisor.
Right.
And yet I'm still doing the work that I've been trained on and board certified in, and just helping people where they are, make the impossible possible, shift and reframe setbacks so that it really does refine them and fuel them again, and help them with their mental fitness. So
Yeah.
honestly, we could get to avoid some pitfalls by that, or if they hit some, they bounce back faster. So it's been a
Yeah.
blessing throughout the years, but really how I started was the foundation for everything, and even for my own life, for the struggles that I'd gone through.
Right. And your struggles are nothing to cough at. I mean, they're pretty significant. I believe you had a stroke at 25, right? Which was from a chiropractic appointment,
Yep,
like nothing out of the ordinary, correct?
that's right. I gone to see a chiropractor. I was 25. I'd just been married. We started reading the book, What to Expect When You're Expecting. I
Oh,
really could not wait to start a family. And when I went to the chiropractor, just one of those unfortunate things that happened, they ripped the vertebral artery during the manipulation. I didn't know it right away, but
mm,
later on, it left me with a blood clot, which was left me with the diagnosis of, if this blood clot dislodges, you could die any day. So at 25, I was facing what my patients were facing in a lot of ways mentally. And then I wish I could say that that was the only one, but I ended up having three. And my last one, the worst one, was just 3 or 4 years ago.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
Significant one. And I believe that that was a tough one too, Coach Dar, because you left, but you lost your capacity to talk, if I'm not mistaken. You had to regain all of those faculties.
Yep, I have what was called expressive aphasia. So I know what I wanted to say, but the words would not come out correctly. And I was in the
Mm,
middle of writing what was called a different book. I'd started the process of writing. It was Awakening Greatness and leveling up in your life. And then had the stroke and had to come back from that. I was traveling with the Phoenix Suns. I was their mental conditioning coach. I thought I'd hit a stride in my life. And then I have the one of the largest setbacks ever, and I had to
wow.
relearn that summer how to write again, speak again, my balance, my fine motor, and start all over and get back up. But I will tell you, by the third one, while it was the hardest hit and it was definitely tough, I bounced back faster because I had all the years of using these tools that
Wow.
that I had to use on myself. And that's how a lot of the art of bouncing back, the book, was birthed, because it was this realization that someone said, this is what you do all the time. What is the formula? I'm like, the formula? And then I'm like, oh, there's bud.
Right. And there you have it. And those are the principles in your book. And I love them all. So let's pick out a couple because
Sure.
they all of them resonate with me. But the first one is critical. It's called embrace the suck, right? And I know you're not a big fan of the word, but let's
Yeah.
digest that a little bit.
Truly, it's one of those where I kept saying, gosh, I don't want to keep using this word, but when you're going through it, I mean, truly think about what happens in the world, what just happened in our world, what happens to you when we get hit with some news, the last thing you want is for someone to be like, oh, you're going to be just fine. You know, I just lost both my parents. I'd gone through the stroke. I don't want someone to say like, it's going to be fine. Of course it's going to be fine. But at that moment, at some point, when the emotions come, I feel them, but I need to embrace the suck of it, where it is, what's happening. I was just speaking at the Amputee Coalition, and these 10 to 17-year-olds that have amputations, they are so resilient. And they said, at one point, I had to just embrace it for what it was, so I knew what to do. I wanted to get back to play. I wanted to get back to life. If we don't embrace it and see it for what it is, we can't make a plan to get through it. So in the military, the reason they call this embrace the suck is because you have to embrace it. You're in the middle of battle. If you don't embrace it, you cannot properly get through the battle, because you can't plan. If you let your emotions take over and you don't deal with it, you can't get through it. So that's why I have to start there. I have to meet you where you are. You have to meet you where you are and the situation. So then you could go forward.
Oh, brilliant. It is. We have to face our fear.
Yes.
Because we could spend our entire lives running from it.
Yes.
Right. Yes. And that's could be a long time. Right. So you're just saying, sit in that.
Sit in. And also I want to say the other thing too is you could also sit in the why. Why did this happen? Why did this happen? Why did this happen to me? And at some point, we are not going to have the answers why. Hindsight, you'll see where it propelled you to if you allow it. But you also not only have to embrace it, but that part of embrace the suck is to stop the why ask and just say, okay, what am I going to do about it now once you start moving through it? And it takes you out of this. We will never have closure for all things. We will never have answers to all things. And so to sit in resentment consistently is only going to hurt. So we have to embrace it in order to then go to all the other steps.
Yeah. Agreed. Oh, wow. That is so fantastic. I do want to get back to a point that you mentioned, get a little deeper into the mental fitness part, because that is about planning, right? It's kind of like we work out to stay in shape and to take care of our health, so we don't have to go to the doctors. And you have something in that mental fitness. Let's talk about that for a minute.
I get so excited. You know, I've been talking about this since like 2008, and everyone thought I had 4 heads then. It's like Elon Musk saying, we're going to have a self-driving car. And when I started my practice then, sharing about this and saying, you've got to put the reps in on what you fill your mind with. You have to get inspired. You have to do the tools. You have to do the work. You have to journal, all these different things. People were going, are you crazy? You know, like, I don't have time for that. And I'm like, well, then you're not going to want to have the time that you're going to have to set aside for taking care of this if you don't do preventative medicine. And I love preventative medicine because I want to prevent some things. While we can't prevent all adversity from happening to us, because it teaches us, what I'll say is, this is where I just decided, hey, if I could teach on this, then people could have the degree, the knowledge to know what to do when the hits come. Because we're not taught that. You could get an MBA, you could learn any language, you could learn a hobby, I'm looking at a golf course, you go learn golf. But who's teaching us consistently on these mental tools? And then when you learn them, just like I know what to do at the gym, but I have to make sure I go there to do it. The same goes with our mindset. And by the way, mental fitness could also mean making sure you have time to get silent, to take a pause, to breathe, to reflect. Because if there's always noise and there's always motion, you can't reflect on things. So it is an ebb and a flow. So people say, Dar, I can't add another thing. And I say, great, then just stop for a second and reflect. Don't stay there. I need you to move again. But this is not a burden. This is to lighten the weight. When you do something consistently, it creates freedom. And discipline, consistency does create freedom and better results. Whereas just doing something sporadic, you will never see the full potential of something.
Yeah, so brilliant, because in those moments of quiet is when we have clarity, right? It's when we can find these solutions. And, you know, maybe you don't like to meditate or journal, but so take a walk or sit somehow with yourself, right? With nothing, no distractions, right?
Literally, I just took an executive to sit on a park bench, take their shoes off. It was 5 minutes. We
Wow.
were going to go to a meeting, but I could see emotionally they were not in the right state. I
Mm,
literally had them sit down and I said, I just want you to close your eyes and listen.
mm,
Just stay quiet. And you could hear like a high school band in the background practicing. You could hear tennis was being played somewhere. You could hear the birds. And all of a sudden I said, what are you hearing? And it was quiet for the first time in their mind that they could actually hear the surroundings that were beautiful. And it flooded memories. And they said, they
mm.
started crying. And they said, I haven't just sat on a park bench. I haven't heard the birds, literally haven't heard the birds. I love the sound of hearing just people playing tennis. And I love a high school band. I'm like, I love a high school band. But
Yeah,
it was all the emotions of growing up. But I just said, you don't even have to. This is mindfulness, by the way. If you don't want to meditate, you can literally just sit on a bench. It's mindful.
right.
It's being mindful of your surroundings to say, did you just enjoy to look up, to sit and be quiet and just hear the birds? It's so
Mm.
powerful.
It's so powerful. And I love that story because I can just envision that person not realizing what they've been missing. And it's
Mm.
not a formal thing. Just go sit on the park bench. Now, hopefully they'll continue to do that, right? Every day and make it a habit because
Even once
when
a week,
once
I'd be happy.
even once a week, and once you have that feel good feeling, you want that,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh,
All the
yeah.
time, right? All the time. What a great story. There's something else that really, I believe it's number 8 of your principle, and it's cultivating grit.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
Me too. I
Let's
could write a whole book on that.
I bet. Let's talk about grit for a minute. Yeah.
Here's the thing, grit is like a muscle. Okay.
Mm,
You build grit like you build a muscle, and you can't get gritty unless pressure's on you. Okay. Unless you're working. So a muscle builds by tension. We build grit muscle and grit greatness and grit strength by being tested in the adversity. And so when problems come to you, challenges, this is getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. I want you to look at this as, oh my goodness, I'm cultivating grit right now. Grit is the ability to endure. And that when someone says, oh, they're gritty, they're saying they could handle things. They got strong. They're mentally able to hold on when everyone else would give up. They're able to push the extra mile, to go one more, to stay in it. And when
mm,
you have to look at what creates mental fitness and longevity, it's adaptability. It's this grittiness. It's the ability to adapt. All of this is your grit muscle. And so
mm.
when you can endure and you could build a grit, I mean, I watched my mother bounce back from multiple heart surgeries over and over. And I thought, this
Wow.
lady is the strongest woman I know. She had so much grit in her that it was like another thing would come, open heart surgery, another one. And she'd be like, you know what? She was very, we grew up in a Catholic church. And she's like, if God still has me here, then I'm still going to get up at the barbershop because someone needs me. But this lady, pretty, no
Wow.
wonder I feel blessed to be a product of her, to even have any of her DNA in me. But I watched her. See, we learn by seeing people in action actually do this.
Yes.
You could talk all day. You could
Yep.
talk all day on this, but you watch people on how they do things and how they succeed or how they bounce back. Grit is one of them. So if you want your
Yes.
kids to learn, start being the example that you want them to copy and follow.
Ugh, amen. My parents were the same, Coach Dar. My mother worked to the day she died, and I was the same way. I'm like, wow, like she had breast cancer, she had a bunch of things, right? And it was nothing. And I'll never forget, this is a funny story. The doctor asked her, like, how, Mrs. Zampaglione, do you feel depressed? And she said to the doctor, Doctor, I don't have no time to be depressed. I fell to the floor, but it's grit, Coach
It's
Dar.
grit.
And what I also love is when I heard you say it's, facing that discomfort, there's a saying that we have in yoga. It's we need to find comfort in the discomfort. We're in this hot room, we're doing these
Yes.
postures, and it is a practice. So I love how you have that as a principle in your book for us to really work towards. Yeah.
One of the things I want to say about yoga is
Yes.
I getting certified as a yoga instructor, not to teach classes, but help the clients that I had. And I
Uh-huh.
became a Lululemon ambassador, and they said I could go to this program, and it was for the pros. I hadn't even been in the minors of meditation and yoga at the time.
Okay.
I'm grateful for it. But what I will say is every time I got into yoga, it was so uncomfortable for me because in like 10 minutes, I'm like, all right, are we done? But I mentally, I mean, this is how driven I mean, that's just my energy. It was so good for me because I knew I needed to pursue and the discomfort of it. And then every time we got to Shavasana at the end of it, I was like, this is amazing. And you know what? You cannot appreciate Shavasana if you do not do the work. If you
That's right.
just sit Shavasana right at the beginning, it's not the same. You
Nope.
have to have pushed your body. You have to have moved. You have to get all this out. So then when you get quiet, it is so beautiful. But you earned that. You
That's
earned it.
right.
So we build this grit and we build a better resiliency and we build a stronger mental fitness and strength because we did the work. We leaned into the discomfort and we became stronger because of it.
That's right. And I love that. And just want to reinforce why your book is such a great, useful tool. I believe you set it up because it's like a circular reference, because we're going to continue to have things happen in our lives, right, Coach Dar?
Yes,
That's
I
just,
did
yeah,
that specifically because it's not like all of a sudden we got through a problem, done, check the box. It's coming again. Or by the way, you may be you embraced it, you understood your hard wiring, you're going through the steps, you're almost at turning the page. A song plays, a person triggers you, another hit comes, and you feel defeated and doubt and lose confidence. And now I got to go back to step 2 of going, hold up. I'm back at step 2 because I got to understand my hard wiring. I got to lean on the foundation of how I was created so I could go back again. It is cyclical, like life is. It's evolving. It's a revolving door. So embrace it because we're going to have to roll with this. And when you roll with it, it's like wheels on a bus. They go round and round. Then you get moved. You could move forward.
That's exactly right. And that's why I just wanted to reinforce all of these beautiful principles. And one last principle I'd like to speak to is the power of why, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so rich.
So I just, we hear why, or we might hear words. Don't dismiss this because there's power in this. Oftentimes people say, Dar, can you just, I have a show, Daily Dose of Dar, and I'll say, I'll give it to you. I'll give you mental fuel. But here's the thing. You don't want to have to keep lighting a fire within you. You want to light a fire underneath you. You want to light a fire within you. So in order to light the fire within you, to keep going, you have to have why power over willpower. When you understand why you're here, you create an anthem for your life. You understand this is the best 30 for 30 show you've ever created that people are going to watch back. When you have this anthem, this word, this mantra, when you create this why power, it will fuel you every day to get up because you understand why and where you're going. If you just try to will it every day, the will is going to fall apart. You're going to get tired. So let me just give a generic example. After the 3 strokes, I know I have to keep myself physically at the highest level I could. So should something happen again, I'm going to have the strength and the endurance so my body could come back faster. I'm doing the preventative, mental, emotional, all of it, physical work. Now, when my alarm went off this morning, I didn't get to bed till 1 a.m. because I had a few players playing in games and had to follow up, and everyone's on different time zones. And at 6:30, my alarm goes off. And I like to get, a good amount of sleep, my 8 hours, but I knew I didn't. And I thought, do I try to get 1 more hour? And I was weighing my sleep to going to the gym and I always look at, okay, can I rebound from this? Cause you need sleep.
Sure.
And I thought, Dar, get your tail up, because if I just had to will myself, I wouldn't have gone to the gym and done my workout. But I said, okay, why are you doing this? Number one, I feel mentally so on the top of my game when I get exercise in the morning. So my why is to awaken greatness in myself and others every day, no matter my role, no matter the finances. I'm here to serve you, to awaken something in you, to help you keep going. And in order to do that, I cannot fill myself. I cannot give what I don't have. So I needed to go get what I needed to fuel me so that I could give you everything at this moment right now. That's
Mm.
why power. That's how you stay lit within. That keeps you going.
Whoa, that touched my heart. It's so brilliant. Oh,
Thank
wow, what a story. And yeah, we have to make some tough decisions, but knowing your why makes
you.
it
It
makes our
does.
lives. So in all this amazing work that you get to do, Coach Dar, is there a favorite piece of clothing or accessory, and how does it make you feel?
Oh, well, actually, what I've had in my hand because I could not put it on. My favorite accessory is my cross. I
Oh,
wear this every
beautiful.
single day. This is my favorite accessory. And I couldn't get this on today because since the stroke, it takes my fine motor, my hands. I drop things a lot. And
Oh,
when I had the stroke, the last stroke, I tried and tried and tried to put this on. And it's, by nature, it's little anyways.
yeah,
And
yeah.
for the most part, I'm able to do it, but sometimes it could take me like 15 minutes to try to get this darn necklace on, but I won't give up. Like this is getting on, but I've been trying and I cannot get it on today. My hands will not grip this and do the manipulation it needs, but I won't give up. Just like this faith allows me not to be able to give up. And
That's
this is
right.
a favorite accessory for me.
I love it. Oh, what a beautiful example of you and your story. So I love this. I'm asking people to go out and buy your book, but if someone wanted to continue the conversation with you, Coach Dar, where's the best place for them to find you?
Please follow me on any social media outlet. I'm the most active on Instagram because that's where I could post stories. I put mental fuel things up there. It's at the Coach Dar. So the Coach Dar is my Twitter, my Instagram. Most of it's on there. I have a website, coachdar.com. So you could find all of my outlets on there should you not be able to find it for some reason. LinkedIn. I have
Yeah,
a show, Fireside Chat, that as long as I'm not traveling or somewhere, I go on and I give that daily dose of Dar to awaken your greatness. You could listen. So follow, please connect with me online, and you could buy the book on Amazon, bookstores, anywhere.
great. Oh, that's beautiful. I'll put all of those links in the show notes to make it nice and easy
Thank
because I
you.
think everyone should have access to you and your
Thank you.
brilliance. Thank you so much for your time today. I'm truly blessed to have you on the show.
I appreciate being here so much.
Thank you.